Algorithm's Netmon Freemium delivers real-time network visibility to quickly identify emerging threats in your IT environment. Netmon Freemium is a free commercial-grade network forensics and traffic analytics solution. You can use Netmon Freemium's powerful capabilities to search against all observed network traffic, identify abnormal traffic patterns and application usage, and quickly analyze full packet captures. Take the first step towards real-time network visibility. Visit logarithm.com/freemium to learn more and download it today. IT Pro TV, an easy, entertaining approach to online IT training. Access over 2,000 hours of up-to-date, high-quality video content live and on demand via your PC, mobile device, and more. For a free 7-day trial and 30% off the lifetime of your account, visit itpro.tv/securityweekly and use the code SW30. Endgame automates the hunt for both known and never-before-seen adversaries in enterprise networks. Built on unique knowledge on the adversary's tools, techniques, and tactics, Endgame's centrally managed agent prevents, detects, and responds to advanced adversaries in the earliest stages of the kill chain without prior knowledge. Endgame, automate the hunt. Has your network been breached? Cybereason can help you answer this question. Cybereason products hunt for threats within your network and eliminate them in real time. To Cybereason, real time means within seconds. Founded by former military hackers who don't play by the rules, they've built this experience into their platform. Harness ingenuity and imagination, not just code, to defeat attackers. Cybereason, disrupt the adversary and let the hunt begin. IT Pro TV's courses now include Exchange 2016, Wireshark, ECIH, and ECES. IT Pro TV recently introduced new membership levels. The new standard membership is $57 a month or $570 a year and includes access to the on-demand course library, live chat, and Q&A forum. The new premium membership is $85.70 a month or $857 a year and includes access to all standard membership features and unlimited Transcender practice exams, virtual labs, and access to the enterprise portal. Download courses with either annual or standard premium memberships. One more quick announcement. We're excited next week to be attending the 13th Annual Secure World Boston Conference, March 22nd and 23rd at the Haines Convention Center in the Back Bay in Boston. Secure World brings together New England's cybersecurity community for high-quality training, collaboration, and networking. The theme this year is Surviving the Siege, Medieval Lessons in Modern Security. Don't miss presentations from Larry Wilson, Esmond Kane, Sandy Backick, and more. You can earn 12 to 16 CPE credits, and Security Weekly listeners save $100 off their registration or full conference pass. Go to secureworldexpo.com for more information. A disclaimer on this next segment, we're going to talk about hacking sex toys. It's not going to be pretty. If you're offended easily, you might want to skip to the next segment or skip over to this part.
And the hacking the sex toys part is not the offensive part. It's going to be all of the damn puns that we make.
All of the puns, and we're going to try. We tried to get as many of them as we could. I know my headset just went wonky. We're going to try and get as many as the puns as we can. We got them out of the way before. We've been making puns pretty much all afternoon in preparation for this segment. But
it's going to be punny. Let me tell you.
It's going to be punny. We've got our good friend who we've known for a long time, both Larry and myself and others on the show, Brad Haines, a.k.a. Render Man, on the show. I'm so happy to have you here, Render. It's nice to see you and talk with you. We see Render at all of the conferences since the early days.
Yeah, I think the first time I met Render was the first time I went to ShmooCon when Core Security had all of those USB hubs lined up on the desk, and he plugged into the far end one and pwned the crap out of Core Security's
And you know
machine.
what's awesome is Alex Horan is still Alex Horan is a dear friend, and he still fondly remembers that, and he's not bitter at all.
No. And the sad part is I still have some of those hubs.
That's right. So Render, welcome to the show.
All right, let's. This should be interesting.
This is going to be interesting.
I'm already preloading, so
Well, that's a lot of preloading. Well, is that all Bombay Sapphire in that glass?
Yep.
That's you're my hero.
Gin
Yo,
rocks.
you have good taste, Render, because that's exactly what I am drinking, sir. Cheers.
Cheers.
I prefer Bombay Dry.
I was going to say, you guys can do so much better than Bombay Sapphire.
I like Bombay Dry better, but that's just me.
Either
but
way.
you know what? You go for your Sapphire.
I like alcohol. Let's just get rid of that.
What's the picture I have on my phone? I'm about to introduce you to my favorite kind of alcohol. It's called A Lot.
It's kind of interesting, though.
Yeah.
Larry and I were actually in the break talking about sex toys. Like,
Go figure.
we're not ones to judge. Like, what? You know what? If it's consenting adults or it's by yourself or whatever,
Yeah.
all the more power to you.
Have at it.
But over time,
But if you're by yourself and you're not consenting?
That's where it gets interesting.
that's interesting. Interesting point, Jeff.
Which is maybe to some of Render's point.
Kind of, yeah, it is. No, it's a good point, Larry. But I mean, traditionally, as with a lot of things that we interact with, they've never been connected to anything. They're just, in this case, rubber, whatever.
Wait, isn't the point of
They've
a
always
sex
been a
toy
manually
to
operated
connect?
device.
It's yeah, but now it, like everything else, it becomes connected to things. And I think all of us in the security community were like, wow, that's kind of interesting. There are people like Larry and Renderman that, have gone down that path to do the research, which I think is awesme. We did talk about 3D printed
Yes, we
sex
did
toys as well.
With Sweet Cat.
Yeah, but and this is kind of interesting. And in Render, I'll give the floor to you to talk about how you got interested in this particular subject and some of the things you've been researching. I think one of the things I want to hit on, Renderman, is the impact. Like, what's the potential impact other than the obvious privacy violations that we've seen with WeVibe? And I forget their parent company name. What is their parent company name?
Standard Innovation.
In Standard Innovation. We'll touch on that as well. So, Render, how did you get started in researching this topic?
So, like most of the projects I get involved in, liquor was heavily involved.
Liquor, damn no. What? Never mind. Sorry.
This is not that kind of segment.
Coincidentally, that's how most people arrive. But
That's exactly what I was thinking,
Comes
though,
with a
Larry. I love the way
solution
you
to a
think.
lot of people.
All right, so I'm going to stop with that because it's really rude.
Let Render talk.
Yes.
Yeah. So DEF CON, I want to say like 15, 16, I gave a talk called How Do I Pwn the Let Me Count the Ways? And it was talked about a business traveler and like all the wireless devices and just, ways you could screw with them without having to actually like physically touch them or anything like that. One of those things involved, it's about 8 or 9 years ago. It was the first Bluetooth-enabled vibrator that had come on the market. It paired with a phone, and it read your text messages, and it looked for a prefix in the text message, and then each character after that was a movement. Well, I use this to say, well, we can this traveler, we get into his phone, we can find out, hey, he's sent these kind of messages to his wife. Let's send our own, and it was good. A couple of slides of laughs, a lot of I had an entire slide of like, here's all the innuendo and bad puns and jokes I've sort of heard so far and thought of. Get it out of your systems, but it stuck in the back of my mind that holy crap, this is now a almost directly it's a connected sex toy. It is what opportunities does that open up for mischief? Things. It really got sat in the back of my mind for years, and it was something I always wanted to keep revisiting. And I figured that there's a lot of SDR work. Most stuff is cheap remotes. That's what I figured the market was. Well, I ended up getting needing a new project, and decided to dive into this one. Dove into it, and it's like, wow, no, this is like, there's Bluetooth, there's an app for that. This stuff's really sophisticated. Wireless charging, they're impressive.
Well, I think the pornography industry has really always led innovation in terms of the internet, right?
Yeah,
Not
bandwidth
just
and
adult.
adult entertainment. I guess we could call it as an umbrella term for adult toys, adult websites, the whole 9 yards.
Blu-ray versus HD DVD.
The whole
You lost that one.
even technology as well,
Yeah,
right?
credit card transactions. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And so it doesn't surprise me, Render, that when you looked into it, it was they're ahead of the technology curve in that respect. And I think we're even seeing it today with virtual reality. I don't know if you looked at it.
An explosion in the technology.
Thank you for the pun, Larry. we had gotten way too far in without a pun. Everybody drink.
I think technically that's an innuendo, not a pun.
Semantics.
Thanks for that correction, Jeff. Much
And
appreciated.
ironically, innuendo is in and of itself an innuendo.
Whoa, we're going down the rabbit hole.
Think about it.
Wow. Mind blown. Okay, so Render, back to your research. Now, Larry and I joked about teledildonics, and I have to be honest, when my brother-in-law and I were talking about like ideas for startups and stuff like that, we were like, what if we were to create like back then we were like, well, we had this USB port, like could we plug a USB port and write software that would let other people remotely control it? I'm assuming that's been done, and they've now moved into basically Bluetooth connected on your app kind of phone, an app on your phone kind of thing.
The vast majority of devices that are out there now are a Bluetooth LE device, connects to your phone. There's an app, so it's Bluetooth to the phone, and then from the phone to internet over LTE or Wi-Fi. It's a service. It's like Skype, but a little more tactile.
But are there also services like you could connect it to your partner? But there are services, I'm assuming, that you can connect it to some random person that you pay for that service.
Oh, yeah.
Is that pretty much how it all works?
Well, I mean, some of the cam sites that are out there have support for these things. You tip away, and it causes the thing to react with the model. There's whole platforms built around this from different companies, and my whole attitude is, as you said earlier, consenting adults, they're informed. It's all good. I don't care the who, the where, the how, or when people are using. I might worry about the what occasionally, but really, it's none of my business. And everyone has the right to yield this stuff, to enjoy these devices that they purchase themselves quite safely. Problem is, the industry really, like a lot of IoT, just doesn't know what they're doing out of genuine, almost blissful ignorance. You
said it, Render, and I think that's really the crux of the issue is security that leads to privacy violations, and when you term it as basically like whatever Larry does in the privacy of his own home is whatever Larry does, and that's fine. But that
I don't want to know what Larry does in his own home.
No, right, believe me, there's a lot of people on that camp, Render.
And to the point when someone else knows what Larry does in his own home, then it becomes a problem.
And is that primarily what you've uncovered in your research, Render, to get down into some of the vulnerabilities that you found in these devices and basically ecosystems, right? You mentioned the tipping on the campsite. I mean, there's whole ecosystems built around these toys.
Thank you for using that word.
What?
Yeah.
That's what IOTA is built on.
Ecosystem?
Ecosystem. The ecosystem of the Internet of Things.
Well, I want to say, though, that this is the Internet of Dongs. It's a branch of the Internet of Things. It's a branch that no one else wanted to touch with a 10-foot pole.
They wanted to touch it, all right.
They wanted to touch something.
And maybe they wanted a 10-foot pole, but that's beside the point. I'm just saying.
But they're specific things.
Sorry, Render, continue.
That, damn, I lost my train of thought. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
There's. But anyways, it's the Internet of Dongs is. It was weird because anybody that you talk to, okay, yeah, it's a thermostat or a webcam or baby monitor or whatever. Oh yeah, we'll research that, we'll hack that, do up a nice report. Oh wait, this product goes where? No, not touching it. The board or whoever is not going to like that. So nobody was stepping up, and I just they would do it for some giggles. There was a few cases of Larry, I think yours was one of the earlier cases, but a few others where it's like, oh hey, look, Bluetooth, I can connect to it and control it, and make the thing dance across the table. Well, I mean, in terms of your threat model, your threat actor is within like 6 feet of you. In which case, you've got a much larger problem.
Yeah.
Yep. And now, Render, arguably, some of our stuff was a little bit more concerning than the 6 feet type of thing.
Yeah. And
But to Render's point too, there are a lot of large companies that are doing IoT research, IOActive, Rapid7, and many others. And Render, you're right. Like they're not talking about this particular product space.
None of them wanted to touch it with a borrowed dick and you pushing.
Yeah, and
that was a stretch, Larry. That was a stretch.
I have no dignity left after all my years of conferences and stuff, and running around doing all sorts of things that are probably all over YouTube. So I figured, like, why the hell not? After a while, like all the jokes and puns and innuendo and that just go over your head. You don't even see them, but you realize though that think about this situation, that if I can hijack one of these remotely controlled vibrators and I end up stimulating someone, on the other end, I'm not the person that they had given permission to or authorized to do so. That's sexual assault. And that's rape. We now are in a day and age where it is possible to remotely rape someone. That's scary as hell. And the sense of violation, even if it's remote and it's through this device, is no more diminished than if it's physical in person assault.
No, but I think that's a great explanation of the impact, so to speak, as the result of hacking these devices brings to the table. I always deemed it as privacy related. I don't think my ever thought about it that deep to talk about in terms of basically not consensual.
Yeah, it's...
And so along those lines, Render, in your research, have you, can you give examples of specific devices, or do you have said devices where this is possible, and what's been the disclosure, and what's all that like?
So part of the Internet of Dunks project is we're trying to bring the ideas of vulnerability disclosure and to this industry. So obviously stuff that's still being fixed, I don't want to mention names or anything too specific, but yeah, we've been able to change passwords on accounts, thereby hijacking it. You can man in the middle a lot of this stuff. It's just XMPP traffic,
kind of gives a whole new meaning to man in the middle.
Yeah. Oh, literally.
Or woman in the middle in this case.
Yeah, we don't judge.
Yeah, no.
But
that's right.
Hey, before we get too far away from it, I wanted to ask a question though. You made a comment about nobody wanted to touch this in terms of doing actual studies and analysis. But isn't that sort of true of the porn line industry in general? I mean, I'm a former QSA. I did PCI for many years. I have never heard of a porn company going through any type of compliance assessment. It may happen. I've just never heard of it. I mean, doesn't the whole industry just kind of turn its back to what goes on in terms of the porn industry? Or am I mistaken?
It's really funny because, I mean, they probably have, some of these companies are really big. But
well, yeah, I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. It built the internet.
Yeah. So a lot of times they're just not hiding, but it's behind some really innocuous named company. Pornhub's parent company is called MindGeek. Like, who would think that a company named MindGeek was involved in porn?
No, you're right. And I was reading an article, Render, about the hierarchy of all of the pornography sites and where they stem from and who owns what, and it's like a whole. Like a family tree, essentially, and it goes back to basically just a few parent companies, right?
Yeah, that's a whole separate topic.
It is, yeah.
Absolutely fascinating. But with this whole situation, though, it was people are still squeamish about sex. Anything like that, they're weird about. It's human nature.
Well, it's taboo. People don't
Western thing.
Yeah, people don't want to talk about it. Yeah, people don't want to talk about it. So, do you have specific examples, Render, where can you show a device and talk about some of the vulnerabilities and the impacts that would have, similar to the other IoT instances?
Well, like I said, I don't want to give away too much because the problem was I started this project and started going through the apps. I got my been given a few devices to test with and generate some data. My God, you start going down the rabbit hole and you don't know how far it goes, and it's scary because there's a couple of cases where it's like I've got company ending vulnerabilities, like stuff where I got the entire user database, 50,000 users, who they've paired with, full profiles, 2.5 gigs of profile photos, which was a big mistake to download. So many penises.
Hold on. How do you get I own a sex toy, and you have a profile picture that's associated with your toy? I don't get it, dude. You got to.
There's an app for that.
You got to explain that. How do I have a profile picture that I want a sex toy? Why do I need a profile in a picture to go along with my sex toy?
So some of these toys are meant for one person at a time, basically, where it's you're connected to your partner or whatever. Others are more Tinderish, where it's some people get a thrill out of having some anonymous person control it, but that's with permission and informed consent.
Oh, so it's like a date, but it's sort of like a dating site for sex toys.
Okay. It's, again, I'm not judging.
My doctor told me I needed to cut back on the trans fats. Man, I'm going to miss Tinder.
What is?
Sorry. I even got Render with that one. Oh, shit. Sorry.
We were doing so good, Larry. We were doing so good. Come on.
We're trying to be mature and have a mature conversation.
Keep your composure. Keep your composure.
Wait, which one of us is trying to have a mature conversation?
Yeah, and secondly, how is that even possible?
It's actually only Jack and Joff that are trying to have the mature conversation.
Oh, come on now.
By not saying a word.
So hold on, Render. Go back. There's like this dating site that allows random anonymous people, pseudo-anonymous, whatever that is, people, anonymous people to control my sex toy. Is that correct?
Anonymous penises. That's what he meant.
Anonymous. Yes. Okay.
Anonymous.
But so is that true, Render?
Yeah. So you could send a request or hey, I want you to control my toy, or hey, I'd like to control your toy, and you can say yes or no, obviously, and do what you want. And like I said, there's a profile. You can put location in there, profile photos, age usually. Usually they're not really complete profiles of information, but in one vendor there was GPS coordinates.
Whoa.
And where are they getting the GPS coordinates? From the toy itself or from the app on the phone?
From the app on the phone.
Gotcha.
They were doing a thing where it was like, hey, what's the distance to this user? But they weren't doing that compare on the server side. They were just sending the coordinates of the partner, from one partner to the other to do the calculation.
So that people could find in proximity in case they wanted to meet.
Yep.
They had a good sex toy experience, but they wanted to meet in real life.
Hey, let's get together and have a cigarette.
Well, all that was supposed to be disclosed in the UI of the app was just the distance.
I gotcha.
But that meant that the GPS coordinates were still sent to the client, and if you actually read the server response, you had lat long down to the house.
Wow.
In most cases.
Yeah, Render, I think that's really important about some of the testing that you've been doing and working on. It's outside of necessarily the functionality of the quote. There's an app for that, and that observing the sends and the responses is really important.
Yeah, I mean, I found multiple cases where data that was not displayed in the UI, like a user's email address, was disclosed in the server response. Why? I don't know. I didn't design it, but it was, and you could harvest all this stuff. There was other ones that you could, through iteratively asking for usernames, you could get a yes/no response from the server saying, does such and such a username exist? Well, yes, no, true, false. But if you got a positive response, it will give you a list of everyone that they've ever invited or connected with. And from that, you got other usernames that you could then feed back into this and iterate through several rounds of this, and you got a good chunk of their user database. Mm-hmm. Plus an entire social graph of who's in controlling who, which outside of privacy implications is actually kind of interesting. But this isn't data that was meant to be public. There was not the expectation or it wasn't built to do that. It's just kind of law of unintended consequences. So
what you're saying is there's social networks of sex toys that have not thought about privacy or integrity of that system at all.
It's not that they haven't thought about it. Talking to these vendors has been very eye-opening for me. A lot of them are like, we really care about the privacy and security of our customers and everything. And I'm not slagging any vendors.
Sure.
This is a very much like the rest. It's a microcosm of the rest of the IoT problem, where you've got a industry with a previously offline, manually operated device. They slap a chipset into this thing, with some developer kit that they buy from TI or Nordic, and hey, over a weekend, somebody builds an app. Hey, look what we can do. They don't have people around like us in that industry.
Right.
They've got chemists, for materials, designers. They've got lots of those people around, but there's no one around to say, hey, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Or did you think about, there's a genuine childlike naivete about security. They don't, they ask their developer who, they hired, they built an app, it works. But, they ask the developer, hey, is it secure? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
totally.
How do you know? Do you know what that word means?
So it's the Internet of Dongs is very much introducing the concept of security and privacy and the testing that goes around with that, to be sure, and the checks and balances to an industry that has never had to deal with it before.
Yeah. The interesting part for me has been interacting with these companies, because you send a cold call them basically with an email saying, hey, we're a project of hackers that's trying to test the security of sex toys, and we tested yours. By the way, here's your user database. No one's tried to sue me yet, which is awesome.
Interesting. That's good. Well, and like you said, I think that while they're naive to some of these security problems, they really, being in the industry that they're in, they're
insulated in a way.
But they also have a concern about the privacy and security of their users, because they know if that stuff goes public, like, no one's going to buy their sex toy, essentially.
Yeah. But
so I have a silly question. It all makes sense that this is a privacy issue, but is it a privacy issue from a legal perspective, or what Paul just indicated? It's more of a privacy issue from the perspective of they don't want to lose clientele and
social or business. Social, business, or legal.
Good question.
So it's actually a bit of both. Disclosure of PII, personal identifiable information, is how many dumps a week are there on
Yeah, but
PII.
what information is actually being disclosed? Obviously, the user database, the subscriber database. There's probably, I mean, I don't think the names in and of themselves are PII, but if there's addresses and payment information, account numbers, credit card information, whatever,
Email addresses. Email addresses are a big one. A lot of sites will use email addresses as the login username, which not always the best idea.
Right.
So I'm trying to convince them that what a lot of other sites do and is not an issue, given the intimate and private nature of these devices. Okay, you need to be a little more paranoid. You need to go a little bit further. You need to make sure that you're taking into consideration what these devices are actually for, and
that there's very much a stigma about that.
It's that. I mean,
it's a stigma. Stuff. It's an embarrassment, but that's different from whether it's a legal issue or not. I'm just curious about the legality.
Yeah, Jeff is correct in that sense.
So there's only one case currently, and that's the WeVibe lawsuit. That actually just this week they finally settled with the plaintiffs.
They came to a settlement, as I like to term it.
Yeah,
there was a class action lawsuit that was very much in favor of the WeVibe users, right? From what I read, Render, and I don't know if you probably follow this story more closely than I have. There was a class action lawsuit. The plaintiffs in the case were basically awarded $10,000 per user or something like that.
So I'd have to double check, but I believe that the plaintiffs, the two plaintiffs in the case, actually got $100,000 each. But because it was a class action, they said if you bought in the U.S. and used it in the U.S. and would sign up for whatever settlement.
And it was before September 26, 2016.
Yeah.
And you bought the connected version because there was a couple different versions, right?
There's a couple different versions.
Yeah, you bought the connected version.
But those people can get up to $10,000
each.
Yeah. Anybody that bought it in the States but didn't use the app can still get $199, which is basically the retail cost.
Yeah, and
it's
so what WeVibe was basically found in court to have done is collect your email address, your time that you use the device, the duration, how long you use the device, the temperature settings, and potentially who you used it with as well. Was that in the case as well? I'm not sure that was, but it was definitely time, duration, and your email was being collected, and they weren't telling anyone they were collecting that information.
So this case is actually really interesting because it wasn't a security problem that they had.
It was strictly it was a privacy issue.
It was a legal disclosure problem. Mm-hmm. In the app, the privacy policy that they had in there was actually from the website. So it said, "Oh yeah, we collect cookies and this sort of information." Didn't mention anything about what the app did. So, like the rest of the world, every time we install software, there's always the end user license agreement says, "Oh yeah, we'll collect data for anonymous usage for improving our products."
Right.
That was part of this, but the other part was that because of the nature of things, you still have to have a broker for connections. Because some of these apps are quite complex. They've got video calling in them, text chat, audio chat. You still need to broker the connection between the users. So you've got a user signs up on the app, puts their email in, email password, creates an account. They connect, send an invitation to their partner who, accepts, and then data happens. In the process of that, obviously the time that all these actions were done was sent through
basically WeVibe gets the metadata from that connection, right?
Yeah, they get they're facilitating the connection, and tangentially, they can, they're seeing, the time they're using, which vibration pattern you're using the most.
Right. Temperature
data was
settings.
actually temperature data was actually the temperature of the chipset in the thing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
This is the sort of diagnostic data that companies use to
improve their products, right? And like I've always said about users of any product, right? If the company discloses, look, this is the data we're collecting, we're anonymizing it, and this is how we're using it, most users of that product are going to be like, yeah, it's fine. Like if you're going to use the data to make the product better, that makes for a better user experience. Whether it's a refrigerator or a vibrator, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Most users are going to be like, yeah, that's fine. But in this case, it wasn't anonymized.
The thing is, it wasn't that it was disclosed to third parties or sold or hacked or anything like that.
They didn't inform their customers that they were collecting the data.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. They were not properly informing their users, and that's the technicality they got caught on.
So again, that's not technically a privacy issue, right?
Actually, in Canada, I believe it would be. Apparently in the States, it's a $5 million. The settlement was for $5 million, right?
That's crazy,
and that's insane to me. I'm not diminishing what the plaintiffs, any violation that they had felt, from knowing suddenly that somebody else was, because there was no evidence of any malfeasance, or they weren't building dossiers on people,
and they didn't leak the data wasn't leaked in this case, correct?
No, honestly, I had done so that all of this came out because of a presentation at DEF CON last year by Follower and Goldfisk. I had actually put in the exact same talk. I had found the same things as them. They're out of so I'm in Canada. They were in New Zealand. Literally the same time, halfway around the world, we both found the same issues.
So another case of two
but they were in
independent
the
researchers.
future, so they got to leg up.
Wow. So another case of two independent researchers doing similar research that finds identical things, and one got picked over the other.
Yeah. So I was sitting in the front row for their presentation, and I'm like, yep, okay, yeah, they got the
you missed, but you missed this, but you missed this, and you got that, right?
Yeah. So, of course, all this information comes out. The media went nuts, of course, and obviously a couple of customers had some issues with this, and decided to go to a lawsuit and brought it to class action, and here we are, $5 million later. The funny part is, out of all of the apps that I've tested so far, because Standard Innovation, WeVibe, they went back to ground after all this information came out. They went and re-engineered their app. They are you no longer have to sign in. Certificates, pinned properly, because so far they're about the only ones I've seen do SSL properly so far.
So they, as a result of all this, they're the most secure sex toy.
They were already the most secure at that time. They're now like another level up,
and it only cost them $5 million. Plus,
yeah, it's sad that it did. But the one case we have so far of someone getting into legal trouble was actually from the one with the least amount of problems.
Interesting. So there are more heinous issues with these devices. Now, Render, do you have some of these devices? Can you hold them up for the camera?
I've got a fairly large number. I feel I need to point out that I'm being supported by Pornhub of all people.
So, like when you're cleaning,
you just read the instruction manuals.
When you're cleaning, people like bump into that by accident,
and the shout out for plowing.
When the cleaning people bump into that Render by accident and it starts vibrating, do you get embarrassed?
So I did a talk in Quebec City in November, and I had a bag full of these things in my carry-on. And it was really hilarious going through airport security.
Did they search your bag going through airport security?
Yes, they did. I was very, very pleased.
So hold on, tell that story. So you go into airport security, they're like, "We're gonna search your bag, sir," and they pull out like a dozen different sex toys or more.
So what they did was, reach in the bag. Didn't have as many at the time, but they pulled this one out. Right.
What in Lord's name is that?
Come on, Paul. You know what that is. You have one.
Quit feigning ignorance, Paul. Come on.
The screener, pulls this thing out and it's like, oh, what is this? A Bluetooth Bluetooth speaker? I'm like, no, sex toy. All right, sir. Have a good.
I love that he was like probably holding it like, hey, is this a Bluetooth speaker? And you're like, no, it's a sex toy. And he was like, oh my god,
drop it.
Good
like
thing
it's
I
hot.
wear gloves. Good lord,
drop it like it's hot.
That's funny.
Yeah, no one doing anything bad would have ever said that. So it's like, okay, yep, you're cool. Like, just go away.
Which is scary. That's a whole different topic, which is kind of scary.
I was going to say that actually introduces an incredible vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They didn't ask you your religion.
It's something that
or anything?
now I've got so many more now. I want to do a whole suitcase of with the cutout foam and labels and everything like that, and go through and just. That's the one where you want to get like the 7-year-old woman,
Yeah. And label them like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Thursday afternoon, Friday morning,
Friday night, Saturday night.
I can just see somebody looking at this and it's like, oh, that's a party.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all these are for actual like research and science.
Sure they are, Render. Sure.
I've been told by many people because I bring these to conferences and stuff like that. They're being handled by other people, so I'm not wanting to stick my junk in something that's been handled by 100 different people. At the same time, there's a lot of people
men have been sticking their junk in things for years
to make me want to handle something that's had your junk in it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, Rendered, quick question, and just out of curiosity, do you have any of the Vibes products?
I do.
Okay. Good, because I was going to say, if you didn't, which one, Android or iPhone, or are they combined now?
They're combined now.
Okay.
They swing both ways.
Because I was going to say,
is that the one that you researched?
Yep. Because I was going to say, if you didn't have them, I would send you mine your way.
Again,
ladies and
talking
gentlemen,
about
Larry just offered to send me sex toys.
Yes, I did, and it's not the only time I've offered that.
We're a very close-knit community here in security.
Check, please.
It's totally cool.
Check, please. Very well played.
I had this one sex toy I used, Render. I really want you to test it. I'm going to send you mine.
Okay, what?
See, mine have only been ever used for
send
research.
Me something used, send me some like those radioactive like hazmat, uber thick rubber gloves.
Nice.
Oh boy!
So I'm just curious, what is it that you were holding just then, Render? I'm very naive about these things.
Oh, believe me, like you get into this research and like I'm generally a very open-minded person, non-judgmental, but every once in a while you find yourself just taking a step back and going, what the hell am I doing?
Like, people actually use these things.
Why do I have a suitcase full of dongs?
Exactly. It's like, try explaining to your mother that you're being sponsored by Pornhub. It's like
that would not be too difficult.
Conversation.
That wouldn't be too difficult for my mom, but because I've talked to her probably about worse. But
that would be a fun family dinner, though.
Hold on. Go ahead.
I sure know I've talked to your mom about worse, Larry.
Okay, so no, seriously, I'm actually
way off track. Hold on. Go ahead. Hold on. Go ahead, Render.
So, this would slip into a woman's panties. This would go up against the clitoris, and it's Bluetooth connected. In this particular case,
wait, women have those?
They also pair.
I thought it was a myth.
A line of audiobooks, erotic audiobooks.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot they had. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. So this one is the woman puts it in her panties, and then it's remotely controlled by someone.
Yes.
On the internet,
right, on their phone, so they can be listening to an audiobook. That there's a meta script for at different times. Set off different patterns, etc.
There's a chat component when you can control that via chat.
But that's what you're saying, Render, is you can intercept those communications or control, as we've talked about, the IoT is not just the device, it's not just the app, it's also the website and the API. You can control that process.
Yeah, the back end on a lot of these, like I said, no one knows how to do SSL properly.
No one. If they do it at all.
Choose your words wisely, Render.
I know.
Believe me,
these companies just honestly do not understand security, and not necessarily their fault. They've just never had anyone around. Like this is where we were 15 years ago.
Yeah. So have you been able to kind of move the meter in terms of being able to make these companies realize that security and privacy issues that you've uncovered are important, and have they been receptive to your efforts?
Amazingly, like this project got a lot bigger, a lot faster than I had expected. I've got currently 6 vendors that have fully signed on to the framework for vulnerability disclosure and best practices that I've written up. As soon as you get past that initial, you did what? Why do you have my user database or other information? So once they realize, oh, wait, yeah,
this is a problem.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you're awesome. Like, thank you. Like, they're loving that I'm responsibly or disclosing this information to them to get fixed for protecting their customers, protecting them,
and responsibly.
Yeah.
So they're loving. So they're loving that you're responsibly exploiting that back end. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Phrasing.
Are there standard Unix commands like finger?
And man.
Oh, that was like, why didn't I think of that?
Because you're not old enough.
2 drink minimum.
There is no man entry for finger. What? Wait.
Oh.
There's no manual entry for What? No.
I mean, I could probably do a talk at DEF CON of just nothing but innuendo jokes and
yes. No, but you've heard them all at this point.
Well, and at this point at the show, Render, we're all pretty well lubricated. So
actually, yeah. So Render, so we had a question from the audience, and
oh no,
I also have a question.
Oh no.
The question from the audience.
All right, wrap it up.
Stick it, plug it down. No. The question from the audience was, "What's your favorite one? Which is your favorite one of these to test? And not by use by, but to pen test
research.
I know exactly who asked that question, and I will tell him off later. I think he meant it in the other way of testing. Honestly, one device to another. I mean, if you open them all up, they're one of just a handful of like TI or Nordic chipsets. It's all on the software. There is some.
That's what she said.
Stuff coming out of China that is like I can't even figure out where to buy the thing.
The hardware is good too.
Yeah, the hardware is elusive because if anybody knows how to speak Chinese,
that's when you want firmware, not software.
Yeah, so if anybody knows how to speak Chinese and can translate for Render, he'd appreciate it.
Yeah, because I'm buying as all these devices, so I'm legitimately a customer and have a right to complain. But some of these there's data going all sorts of weird and interesting places, and API keys left, in plain text. Every one of them is just
kind of gives a new whole meaning to wiretapping.
I had to put the drink down for that one.
Drink. Everyone drink. Phrasing.
Drink.
So, Render, parting words.
Oh, wait, no. I have one more
Go
final
ahead,
question.
Larry, question.
Where's the twerking butt?
I don't have the twerking butt yet.
I noticed the key. Wait a minute. I noticed the key phrase yet.
But that's like the $1,000 thing that Pornhub is like it's their product, and is that an internet or Bluetooth or somehow connected device as well?
So yeah, it's twerkingbutt.com. It's Pornhub branded. It is a 12-pound rubber butt.
I'm so glad you gave the website for our audience for those that are interested in that. That was important. Somehow that was important.
NSFW, yeah. Twerkingbutt.com.
But it twerks, it vibrates, it's heating. There's VR goggles that pair with it. There's an app.
Good.
There's an app for that.
Yeah. So just on principle,
please, can we end
to
this?
Get one of these things. It doesn't have any remote control features, but this is just one of those things that deserves to be hacked. It's a moral imperative that I need to make this thing do something stupid.
Needs to be penetrated. I agree. Test penetration tested. That's what I meant.
Clench up to open a beer or something. Just like command.
Open a beer with a clench. Yeah. Pornhub, we implore you.
Things that blows the mind.
Pornhub, we implore you. We understand you're already sponsoring the Internet of Dongs, but you need to send 2 of these to Render.
Yes, one for proper research. One that I can throw it on the table at DEF CON and say,
have at it. Wait, no.
No, we're not going.
Yeah, one for Render's personal research and one for public research.
Render, thank you very much for all of this information. We did. You want to do the 5 questions again?
I think it'd be anticlimactic to do 5 questions.
Murdoch needs to do the questions.
There's gonna be it's gonna be Murdoch. Who can give the last pun on this segment?
And Render, I will say real quick, while Paul's pulling out the 5 questions,
I'm not pulling it out.
I appreciate all of the work that you do with all the things that folks don't want to touch, like ADSB, and most recently, and now the Internet of Dongs. And I appreciate the fact that you're willing to take these things on and haven't gotten sued yet. And I'm fully supportive of all these efforts.
Yeah, that's not like telling people that they should sue me or anything like that.
No, definitely not.
Let's not start that process. Let's not open up that.
Absolutely not. But I'm really appreciative of the fact that you're willing to step into those areas that are maybe a little taboo and have had great success.
I have no dignity. It's easy.
All right, 5 questions.
I'm so thankful you were able to come on the show. 3 words to describe yourself.
Skinny, psychopathic, borderline alcoholic. If you hyphenate borderline alcoholic.
One of the most accurate descriptions. If you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
Dongs.
Big dong.
Gotta be a dong.
Big
dong.
Fruit Loops. All right.
If you wrote a book about yourself, what would the title be?
Dongs.
What the hell made you think that was a good idea?
In the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
That's twerk butt grabby grabby.
Now it all depends on whose butt. If it's the twerking butt, that's a separate issue. But
always first.
Ask Grabby Grabby.
Third. All right.
Choose.
Damn.
Choose 2 celebrities to be your parents.
Alive, dead, fictional, or otherwise.
Disembodied.
Ooh, see. Stump the hacker.
Alan Turing and Marie Curie.
Very nice.
Very well played.
And the Internet of Dongs website is what now?
internetofdawn.gs.
Very clever.
It is in the lower third.
It is in the lower third.
I was amazed it was a .gs top-level domain.
Yep.
Well played. Well played. Render, thank you very much for appearing on Security Weekly. As always, wonderful seeing you. We'll see you at a security conference coming up soon.
Oh, the monkey!
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Security news coming up next. Stay tuned.